Long ball number one here on Morning Kicker. And I'm Robert. He's Jason. We are partway through the round of 32 of the U.S. Open Cup 2025 edition. Not a whole lot of upsets, or maybe no upsets at all on the Tuesday night edition, but there are some juicy MLS versus USL matchups tonight. Jason, we're going to go through all the different matchups that are coming tonight, but we want to see, maybe parse through which team from the USL might pull a cup set tonight.
Yeah, well, first let's acknowledge, good effort, good try, good effort, however you want to say that, from some of the teams last night in the Open Cup round of 32 as they went up against MLS opposition. Tacoma Defiance, although they are attached to an MLS team because they are the MLS Next Pro side for the Seattle Sounders, nearly did the job against the Portland Timbers, but fell 2-3 at home there in Tacoma. You had Nashville narrowly getting past Chattanooga Red Wolves. I know the Chattanooga Red Wolves are not every American soccer fan's favorite team for almost MK Dons like reasons. Now that I think about it, Rob, we'll come to MK Dons later in the show.
Sure.
But they gave Nashville a game. It ended up 1-0. There's a late red card in that, but I want to acknowledge that. So that's a team out of USL League One trying to get past an MLS team and failing. Colorado Springs Switchbacks, defending champions of the USL Championship at home. Yeah, 4-1 losers to the New York Red Bulls. Didn't go well for them. Charlotte FC took down North Carolina. So again, a couple of teams really put in an effort. A couple of them got ran off the pitch a bit. In terms of what's happening tonight, I'm just going to start with the earliest game on the board, Rob. That's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds at home against NYCFC. And the thing we never quite know is how the MLS team is going to handle this from a lineup perspective.
Yeah.
We don't
know. Question in the cup competitions, right?
And
big teams playing small teams.
I was unable to keep an eye on what went down in Colorado Springs last night, but I know that the Red Bulls rolled out very much a reserve team and still handle their business against the USL Championship side. That doesn't mean, by the way, that there's this huge gap. And I know that we want to talk about there not being that big of a gap sometimes when you see a USL Championship side knock off an MLS team. But we'll see tonight whether NYCFC wants to take this thing seriously, whether they want to really go for this, or if Pascal Jensen is going to say, let's maybe give some of the kids, some of the reserves an opportunity. You've also got Louisville City at home against Minnesota United. Minnesota United is good, but again, what kind of team will they roll out? Louisville City in their building. You want to give them a pretty decent shot at that one. Rob, what do you got? Pick one out from what I haven't mentioned yet.
Looking at the earlier slate of games, I'm guessing one that's kind of a bit of tasty in the Northeast. Rhode Island hosting New England. So
yeah.
Rhode Island getting quite the explosive start to their life as a club. Obviously, they went to the USL Championship final last year. They've had some big games.
And the Chowda Derby, right? Is that what we're calling that one?
I would imagine that seems to be an appropriate one. Hosting an MLS team in their second season. I mean, that's a highlight at any point, but so early in their life. It's pretty incredible for them. And the other one, obviously, there's a local connection for me, is Detroit City FC traveling to Chicago. And Chicago looking a little bit better in league play, but got absolutely drubbed by a touchdown not too long ago. So what will the Chicago Fire do against DCFC?
It should be noted they're playing that game in Bridgeview. They're not doing a Soldier Field joint for that one, which makes some sense. I don't love it when MLS teams do that alternate venue thing for the Open Cup. It definitely indicates the Open Cup's not that big of a deal. I mean, part of it obviously is that they can't sell out or sell even even close to enough tickets to make Soldier Field look good for an Open Cup game. So if the atmosphere is better in Bridgeview, fine. I still don't think they're going to get a ton of people out on a Wednesday night for that game. I would also point out you have a local derby match, Tampa Bay and Orlando, and I know that the fans of those two clubs do not like each other. There have been some bad things that have happened. I'm not gonna litigate them here, but if you know any of the history about Tampa and Orlando, they do not get along. So that's Orlando
Will
traveling to.
will we get any quality Florida man stories out of this tilt? There's a lot of Florida men involved in one game. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. We will see about that. I hope there's no fisticuffs, right? Let's keep it nice and calm and passionate. I also say, I mean, people are going to point out that AV Alta out of California is the sort of the lone serious Cinderella left, right? Because now with what happened last night, I mean, how many League One teams do we have left in this competition, Rob? I mean, I think they might be the only ones at this point.
Is Union Omaha a League One or a championship side?
The Union Omaha is a League One side, so they travel to St. Louis. Both those League One teams have to go away to an MLS team, and again, not playing in the main venues. For the most part, I think St. Louis actually is hosting their game at home in their building. I imagine Dallas is probably too. So maybe I'm wrong about those two teams. They are playing in their main. Although FC Dallas right now, Toyota Stadium holds like 8,000 people or something because they're doing renovations on it. Austin, El Paso, that's not a big long drive, so I imagine there'll be plenty of El Paso fans in Austin to support their team. It mentioned here by Jose that we have Indy 11 and the Philadelphia Union. That game in Philadelphia or in Chester at Subaru Park. Indy 11. This is a weird. Maybe we need to get a temperature on what's happening in Indianapolis with
I think that's appropriate.
Because there's been all this speculation about MLS coming to town. There's been talk about a stadium, but maybe not for the USL Championship side. And I imagine that, very much like what happened with St. Louis SC, although, or St. Louis FC rather, but maybe even different, maybe even slightly different, because I think Indy 11 is more established. They've been in championship games in their history. They've been around for almost a decade at this point. Is that right? Indy 11 is something like almost a decade old at this point. So to have a team like that maybe in limbo and possibly basically going away because MLS comes to town, this could be, this could be something emotional for Indy 11 fans if they can go to Philadelphia or go to Chester and win an Open Cup match against an MLS team.
Another notable one, I would say San Jose hosting Sacramento Republic. That's another there. I mean, we noted that there's like 11 men's teams in California, so there's a lot of opportunity for California derbies. But San Jose and Sacramento, both good teams.
Yeah, took my Sacramento Republic shirt out to Northern California when I was out there and
how much Sacramento gear did you see while you're out there?
I might have been the only one wearing one that I saw. Yeah, it might have been just me. I'm trying to remember again if I saw any other gear, but Sacramento's not too far away from where I was, but it didn't seem like there were a lot of Sacramento people nearby. I did run into some people from Reno, and they're like, "We used to have a team, but we don't have a team anymore." I don't know what happened. They were building a fan base, is what I was told. So, yeah. Shout out to Reno 1868, which dissolved right after COVID. So that's kind of makes sense that COVID really killed off their momentum. Anyway, Sacramento Republic, also, technically my hometown team. I was born in Sacramento. I was there for 2 months, but it's still my hometown by virtue of being the place of my birth. So I guess I got to root for them against the MLS side in Bruce Arena, who famously does not care about this competition.
Oh, Bruce and his opinions. And producer Jenny brings up a good point that Detroit City bringing busloads of people out to Bridgeview for that game tonight, which brings me to a point like I'm enjoying the worlds colliding between MLS and USL, but still a lot of the big teams are hosting these games. Sure wish that the lower seeded or the lower league team would get the automatic hosting rights to these, because I think Chicago Fire coming to Hamtramck in Detroit would be an all-time moment. I mean, it was a huge deal when Columbus Crew came to town. It was, actual mainstream news when that happened. So I think a little bit of a missed opportunity if, Open Cup gets refined every year. And then if we're going to change anything for next year, I would say let the little teams or smaller teams host, regardless, they should get first rights. So we will see which USL team, if any, able to pull the upset in the round of 32.